gets slightly delayed in the second half, your game's over. Okay? Mainly because if we push you a half an hour, and we're pushing everybody a half an hour, we're pushing everybody half an hour, because it's a 30-minute delay, okay, then we're just going to be off schedule forever for the rest of the day. Okay? So that's the policy, and then to try and reschedule, we'll try and reschedule based on what we can do with those two teams. Okay? Questions on lightning weather?
Who's calling it?
Huh?
Who's
The
calling it?
referees will call it. Okay? That's the officials' call. The officials will make the call based on their training and based on what they're seeing with the weather to put it in the lightning delay. Okay? Now, us as coaches can certainly, you know, we can have a dialogue and say, Mr. Official, it's right there again, or whatever, right? But again, that's a better safe than sorry deal. I've played in games, I've officiated games, I've coached in games where we probably should have stopped before we did. Okay? There's no reason to like push that, particularly with kids with metal poles in their hands. Okay? All right. Okay. Tim. Thank you. Okay. A couple other things. Field monitors. Okay. These are the table people. We're transitioning this where the league has managed this for the last couple of years. We're transitioning this back to the programs. We're going to be asking the programs to identify people who will manage the tables. We're not wanting a different parent at every game to do it. We want someone to be there the whole time so they're familiar with the process. We also don't want parents of that game doing it because they cheer and they get into the game and they forget what they're doing and they get biased or they want to yell at the coach or whatever. So we don't want that. So we're transitioning that back to the programs a little bit. Certified athletic trainers. Last year we transitioned into only having certified athletic trainers at our events. Again, we get about 80 to 85% coverage. We don't get 100% coverage because we don't control that. I had a call from somebody last year in a game. Marty, where's the trainer? I'm like, I don't know where the trainer is. There's somebody assigned, you know, I don't know where they are. So I made a few phone calls. Well, come to find out the trainer was in a car accident the night before and in the hospital. Like, you know, but that didn't get reported to us because it didn't even get reported to the person who's assigned in the trainers. So there's just some things that are out of our control. We ask you to be a little bit, you know, patient with that and use some common sense when those situations arise if there is no trainer on the field. If there's a trainer on the field, please let them do their job. They're there to do a job. They're all certified athletic trainers. In the past, we had EMTs and we had some student trainers. These are all certified athletic trainers. They know what to do. Okay, so take their advice, take their recommendation. You don't want to be the coach that puts the kid with the concussion back in the game. Okay? You don't want to be that guy. All right. A couple other things we're going to do this year. Starting in March, we're going to identify an IMLACS Person of the Month. This will be somebody that can be nominated through the general lacrosse community of somebody who's gone above and beyond. And, you know, this is a very, you know, subjective kind of thing. Just tell us why you think somebody should be the Person of the Month. We're also going to be having a sportsmanship award on a weekly basis. So this could be a player, a coach, a program, an official, a table person. I don't care who it is. Somebody that you saw exhibiting great sportsmanship, let us know. Because we want to celebrate that. We want people to go, hey, that's great, that's awesome, and we're going to be having some prizes, and our local vendors will help sponsor some of that. You know, so it'll be something that hopefully people, you know, really enjoy being part of. Okay? Tim? All right. Schedules. We hope to release a schedule by March 22nd. That is 8 days before the first game. Okay? Which is, you know, not enough time, but that's the time that we're given. If we can get it before then, trust us, we'll do it before then. But once we do the schedule, we still have a lot of things to do. We've got to assign officials, okay? We have to make sure that all the fields are lined for that next week. I mean, there's a lot of work that has to be done once we do the schedule. So we're trying to get it done as soon as possible. But we also know what history tells us, which is we're not going to get the information that we need when we want it. So please, get us the information that we need as soon as we can, okay? If you don't have players registered, get them registered. That's how we know. That's how we know if you can put these things together, right? If somebody's registered, okay? Spring break. Each program has designated one Saturday off for spring break, okay? This is an issue every single year, and we just don't have enough dates on the calendar to provide 2 Saturdays for spring break. So your program director has identified to us a day that you're not playing. Please get with them so that you understand what that date is. Let people know right away. Okay? Let them know when that date is so that we can take care of that. If we're not notified and you just don't show up like the day before, you can forfeit games. Otherwise, you're going to be required to reschedule. okay? Because we're trying to give everybody that one weekend. We just can't do 2. Again, nothing new there. Rules, it's your responsibility to understand the rules. We're going to talk about some here in a minute. Be respectful of the officials. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We've got an official that's going to be talking with us a little bit later. And please make sure that the younger ages know those rules as well. Okay? Go ahead, Tim. Okay, so new rules this year. There we go. Yeah.
It's a fire.
Oh, wait a minute.
That thing is. I reset your computer for you. Yeah, this thing is. It was just the power. Oh, it was power. Should be computer one.
Did it go to sleep?
Sorry. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Is the dive a good rule change or a bad rule change?
Good. Hey, just real quick while they're doing that, the Harriman Spring thaw. Anybody have any questions or anything at all about that? Know what it is?
What is it?
It's not a tournament, it's a festival really, just a chance for the kids to get out and play 4 games before the season starts. It's the 15th and 16th. Got several teams signed up already, 4 games. In the past, it's been $25 per kid. We kept getting feedback that we needed ULOA officials, not college kids, not the youths, not the UVU, not BYU. So it went up $10 so that we could meet that request, keep everybody happy. So hopefully we'll have 2 per age group for the 7th, 8th, 5th, 6th. Probably just 1 for the 3rd, 4th.
Okay, so I did have a question on the 3rd, 4th.
Yeah.
I know for us, Copper Hills, we're right there. It being split 2nd, 3rd, 4th. That 2nd graders there is not an issue.
As long as you're comfortable with it and you tell us, hey, I mean, it's not a tournament. It's a chance for kids to come out and have some fun, for them to get the jitters of the, get 4 games behind them so that they know when they're coming on and off the field and, offsides, all the little things that you see in the first few games, they get all that out. And I can promise you that the teams that have come out in the past are always commenting, that was the best thing we ever did as far as for our season. So, yeah, it's on the website.
Sorry, guys. Come on now. I think the power cord's got a short in it. So let's just try to not touch it alone. Don't touch it. Okay, here we go. Rock and roll, policy reminders, concussion in general. Schedules. Okay, rule changes. These are rule changes to youth lacrosse. Number 1 is they have identified now a targeting rule. Okay, so targeting is any forceful, purposeful, intentional, and dangerous, and you can read the rule yourself, blow to the head. Okay, and that results in an automatic 3-minute penalty plus an ejection. Okay, so that's a pretty stiff penalty. Okay, yes.
You said to the head, but is it a body check or is it?
Hey, Marty.
Go ahead. Yeah, this is
Targeting is 3 things.
Is it official?
Targeting will be 3 things this year. It is a
deliberate blow to the head with the intent to cause a severe blow. Doesn't mean he actually has to cause a severe blow, but if we think he was going for it and the other kid ducked, we're still going to go with targeting. That's one. Two is a blow with the head with the intent to deliver a severe blow. So heavy duty spearing, really going at a kid with your head, also targeting. And three, a deliberate blow to a defenseless player. Doesn't have to be to that player's head, doesn't have to use your head, but if you deliberately blow up a defenseless player, that also, with the intent to, that's also targeting. So those three things are targeting. They will be 3 minutes non-releasable, and Johnny's ejected, which means he's not playing the next game either.
Okay, so remember that last part. If you're ejected from a game, you don't play the next game. Right? Yes.
Oh, so defenseless player meaning that if it's, you're on the other side of,
So somebody's got
These
somebody's
kids
got his
looking
head
down for a ground ball, and you blow them up from behind.
I'm running like this for a ball like this, and he comes and just kills me. You know, it's like I'm defenseless. You know, in a position where I could really be hurt. I might be the dumb one because I'm defenseless. You can't take advantage of that. Okay? So that's a significant rule enhancement, because it's really not a change to the rules.
Correct.
It's an enhancement, but the penalty has been severely enhanced.
And at youth, it is mandatory ejection. In high school, we'll discuss ejection for targeting. In youth, if we call it targeting, you're gone.
So coaches need to understand that, because it's going to happen. Somebody's going to freak out. Okay, it's going to happen. Yes.
I mean, what happens if you got like a second, third, fourth grader, right? Some big kid that everybody has them, right? That just can't even walk and chew gum at the same time, and I mean, he just runs into somebody. I mean,
Then the official has to make that judgment call. Was he purposefully trying to put that kid down? And if he was, then he's not. I mean, this is the thing, and this is something that's happening in youth lacrosse. Okay, they're taking the physicality out. Okay, and we can all bemoan it and think it's a bad thing. Okay, look, when I played, I was one of the more physical players on the field. Okay, this is not a bad thing. Okay, what physical play teaches us at the younger levels is bad habits, bad techniques. Because I'm that big kid and I can get away with it. Okay, so that when I am in 10th grade now, and everybody's caught up to me, I'm trying to do this stuff and I can't get away with it anymore. So this is it's a safety thing, but it's also a technique thing to help the game get better. Okay, but these are the rules now. These are the rules, and if somebody cannot play by those rules, then they shouldn't play. I mean, I don't want to sit here and say kids shouldn't play lacrosse. Everybody should play lacrosse, love it. But if you can't play by the rules now, then you shouldn't play. Don't play hockey, don't play rugby. You know, if you have to be, if that's what you're about, then go play something else. You know, so it's just the way that it is. Yeah.
So if you're ejected on the last game of the regular season, are you also for the playoffs that next game?
Yes,
you are.
The next game, whatever the next game is, playoffs or whatever. Okay. Okay. The next one here is also a significant rule clarification. Okay. You can't really read it, but what it says there is holding with a portion of the cross which is between your hands is now legal. Okay. Holding with a portion of the cross between my hands is now legal. Now, also see how far apart my hands are. The shoulder width apart. Okay, so the rule, if you go read now the technique of the rule, my hands have to be shoulder width apart, and I can hold with this part of the stick. Okay, with this part of the stick. What I cannot do is punch. I can't thrust out like that. Okay, that's still a cross check. That's still a cross check. But I can hold with equal pressure here. Okay, this was called. So Brendan's here.
So he can hold me. What he can't do is if he's got me, he can't send me up, and not only that, but he can't drive me because he's stronger than me up the field with his hands apart.
Equal pressure.
Equal pressure. You can hold against the attack. The classic is you can divert me down below GLE where I'm not important anymore. That's cool. But you can't push me all the way back up the field using your hands like that.
Now, if you've watched high levels of lacrosse, college and high school,
That's called playing midfield defense.
this has basically been going on for years. Okay. Now, when I played in the '80s, this was you touched a guy like this and you're getting called. Okay.
Okay, so we played more with our hands like this, but nowadays, for the last 10 years, this has basically been legal in the high school and the college. So I think some of the rule changes is basically just saying, look, it's happening anyway, let's just try to define it a little bit more. But at the youth level, it's never been legal. Okay, so this is now legal again. Shoulder width apart, equal pressure.
What we're gonna wanna see, what I keep training my refs for, is I wanna see some bend in these arms. You're gonna hold tight up here, push back, I'm not gonna like it. At worst, at best, we're gonna get you for a hold. You really jab at the kid, that's when we start talking about a cross check.
How about with hands together, can you still push?
You have never been able to actually punch with your hands together. And that's never been legal.
That creates space when you're playing defense.
It's the same thing, it's equal pressure, right? So I can be here, right, and I can push off a little bit, okay? But I can't punch or thrust or anything like that with my hands together, okay?
Once you're engaged with your hands together, that's the difference between these two. You're engaged, and now I'm a wimp, and he's coming, he can push, as long as he's not punching with his hands, he's got contact with me, yeah, he can start pushing me upfield with his hands together.
And now from a technique standpoint, you should never teach this ever again.
Right.
Because this is a weak leverage point right here. Now that I can do this, now I've got strength. So you should never, from a technique standpoint, ever teach hands together again. Which is a good thing, because kids was always telling me, yeah, we do this. Well, okay. But there's no leverage here. Now you've got leverage and strength at arms like this. So we should never teach this technique.
If you have to stick a little bit more up, you cannot cross-check with your
You can't
stick.
cross-check like this.
Can't do it.
The ref will never ever call a cross check like this. It's just when your hands are like this. Right? So you can use a lot of your stick doing this right here. Okay? Other questions on that? That's a new change, significant change to the rules with it set. Uh-oh.
I know what the next one is. Next one's gonna be warding.
Computer's good, it's just
They messed up, they screwed up last year, they added a change in the middle of the season that confused everybody. The rule last year was you could not ward with two hands on your stick. Well, okay, that was kind of confusing. This year they've modified the rule that says, if you have one hand on your stick, you may not play with the offhand. It used to be the half hand or any other part of your body. They've gotten rid of it. Warding now is this. With one hand on your stick, this is warding. If you have two hands on your stick, you just took it away. Morning.
Oh, there you go.
If you've got two hands on your stick, you may create separation between you and the defender, come here a second, against his hand, with your arm or your hands, the things that are attached to the stick, against his cross. You can create separation there to get some room for your hands. You cannot push against his body with your, if you're the offensive player. That'll be an illegal push. They tried to make it simpler. What they really should have done was put the pushy part over in the push rule, but they kept it in the warding rule. Short answer is, if you've got two hands on your stick, we're not going to call it for warding. We might call you for an illegal push. If the defender's kind of coming across in front of you and you push him off with his back or his side, that's going to be an illegal push. That's again, the low end of it. What we also don't want offensive players doing is they can't cross-check either. And they cannot lower their shoulder, lower their head. An offensive player may not body check a defender. So you will see us flag happening more in high school, seen it more and more. You will see more illegal body checks. This was your kind of the big kid. Big kid got to be careful. He's trucking down the field, he's got the ball. There's a little kid standing in front of him. I'm going to be a hero. If he lowers that shoulder, it's going to be at least an illegal body check. If he just kind of stands up and the kid doesn't get that out of the way, we're going to have what looks really ugly but may not be anything. Hopefully it's not anything. But the big kid's got to know, I got to be in control of my big body in the world of little people. Just because he hip checks the kid and the kid falls over, that's not a penalty. But if you take, so that's that one. That was the new warding thing. Small-sided play. So K1, 3, 4, right? Is K1, are you going to have face-offs?
K1, 2, 4. They just have it at the very beginning.
Just the very first one? Okay. That's going to be a change for us. All right. So K2 and up through 3, 4, all we're going to have in the middle of the field are the two players with the face-off. Everybody else is goal line extended. 2, 3 are going to not have goalies, are going to have a Hector, right? Okay. So that's not a problem for them. They are released on the whistle for the face-off.